Thank you for joining here live and on the replay. So we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So I'll give it a quick minute here for people to hop on. And we are going to be talking about what does it mean to step into your power. We'll be covering a couple points on, what our power is specifically. How do we empower others? What does our level of consciousness have to do with with us stepping into our power? So in the past, I've said that energy is two things. It's primarily information and power. And over the course of this discussion, I'm going to be tying those things in together. So, hey, Darko, welcome. Hi, Holly. So thank you for joining. So what is your power exactly? Remember that your energy is comprised of your thoughts, feelings, ideas, and your level of consciousness. Now, in the energy centers of your body, most people are familiar with the term chakras at this point, or chakras. The solar plexus right here at the stomach area primarily represents your personal power. And there's other things incorporated in the solar plexus too, like your ability to achieve, your will, your ability to make decisions. All of those are incorporated in there. But that power is affected by the beliefs and emotions related to your ego. Okay, so how we identify ourselves. In this space, we determine our personal value, how we carry out decisions, our ability to do that, what our thoughts that we typically think as we observe what's going on around us. And our internal dialogue, so the things that we say to ourselves when we make certain conclusions about these things as we move through our life, through toddlerhood, by the way. So those things that we interpret and then we say to ourselves, then that combination of things, no one else creates but us. Okay. Now, granted, right around 2.5 to 4.5 years is where the formulation of this particular chakra in our body becomes, more concrete. And so even though as kids, we may not have full control over the environment, but as an aware adult, and we begin to choose to heal, this is where we typically begin to heal any issues around personal power. So just remember, your power begins with you and ends with you. So if at any time, even now, if you are allowing someone else's thoughts, feelings, or just their opinions, if you allow those things to dictate your inner dialogue, then essentially you've lost your power, you've given it away. Okay, so what does it mean then to step into your power? Well, to put simply, this means that you begin to heal by reclaiming your energy and conserving it for yourself. Okay, and then you're able to utilize that energy to create, to execute. Hi, Ryan, thank you for joining. And to express yourself authentically and with transparency. So why do I use the word heal when it comes to stepping into your power? Essentially, it's because they end up being synonymous. When we give our power away, we hurt ourselves in a way that creates a chain event or feedback loop that reinforces any feelings of powerlessness that we may have around a particular person or situation. And this is mostly just a totally unconscious thing. So I'm going to give you an example. I'll give you my own personal example. Okay. So when I decided to explore energy healing and I decided that I wanted to become a Reiki master, I personally was very confident of the benefits. Like I totally knew that this was something that I wanted to do, but I also knew that other people may not be on board. They wouldn't understand it. They wouldn't get it. And when I put it out there that I now do Reiki, I'll be honest with you, I was very preoccupied with having to defend what I do even though there wasn't anyone coming at me at the time with questions or anything like that. So it was interesting because when I started to get clients, they weren't even really asking me how it worked. But here I am, a registered nurse, okay, with one foot in allopathic medicine, as well as this whole other arena, something completely different. And I was actually guarding myself constantly. And what added to that is that eventually, when people began to kind of see what I was doing, they either thought that I was weird, I was going completely left field, or anything like that. I was told that, and I was even told that the results that I was getting was not for the reasons that I thought that they were. Okay, which really, that made me really angry, to be honest. And it put me in like this defensiveness and this fight mode. Okay, which obviously is not healthy. So in this example, my personal example, from the very beginning, my energy was rocky because I was concerned with what other people were going to think of me. And I haven't even done anything yet. So looking back, because of the energy that I was emitting, I will say that I probably even kind of created some of these scenarios for me to heal through this, to heal any powerlessness that I was feeling. And, you know, and because that's where I was vibrationally. So my reactivity, the anger, the continued defensiveness, which by the way, was actually playing upon underlying feelings of shame, created a loop where I gave away power, like all my mental, emotional energy, and lots of it, and that kept me in fight mode. And it was exhausting. So do you see what I'm kind of showing here with the loop and how the whole thing that we start with, that it begins with our power, we can create this whole loop and then it ends up perpetuating itself. And if you understand the belief, the thought, the feeling loop, and your actions, you end up kind of creating like the self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, so the big point that I'm trying to make here is that when you give your power away, it's not something tangible. It's not something that like someone else can kind of see and touch. We end up doing this most often when we're alone with our thoughts and our feelings. Okay, so if you're contending with any issues right now, let me ask you a few questions. And if you want to jot these down, you can jot these down. This is going to be, the recording is going to be on my social media, so you can always replay this. So the first thing I would ask is, who or what do you think about the most? Whatever it is, you are energetically courting to that thing or person, which means essentially that you want a particular outcome. So basically you have an expectation, okay? Or you're wanting someone to feel or think a certain way. And you, as a result of courting to somebody else, you could end up draining their energy in exchange you're draining yours, okay? You could be siphoning energy off the situation or the person, okay? So the second question is, what emotions come up when you think about this person or thing? Is it anger? Is it frustration, sadness, worry, fear? All of these things will take you out of your body and unground you, which is the reason why if you follow any of the clearings, and we're going to do a mini clearing today, you'll see, you'll see that what we do is ground first. Okay, and we tend to get rid of some of that stuff so that way when we heal through your chakras, then it'll be so much easier to stay in your body. Now, if you have any of these sustained emotions for a period of time, you pretty much know if you've ever been burnt out, exhausted, a lot of that is contributed to the emotions that you're allowing to play out when you're courting to a person or a situation. So the third question I will ask you is that person or situation even asking anything of you, or are you creating that? Are you putting these self-imposed standards or expectations that are just impossible to reach? If you're a recovering perfectionist like myself, you pretty much you pretty much know what I'm talking about. Okay, so oftentimes, because of our own beliefs and thoughts that we turn against ourselves, we put words in other people's mouths, and like I mentioned before, we end up creating like these self-fulfilling prophecies. We can manifest the issues. Go back to the first question that I asked: who or what do you think about the most? Because I want you to remember this basic energy principle. The thing that you think about, or the person that you think about the most with the greatest intensity, that's what you're going to manifest. So if you're worried like you're going to get sick, if you're worried that you're going to lose money, if you're worried about something like your worst case scenario, and you give it all that mental and emotional energy and you build it up and amplify it, guess what's going to happen? Most likely that thing is going to come into your existence and become a part of your reality. We manifest things all the time, okay? Whether that's positive or negative. People tend to focus on manifesting, more money, more opportunities and things like that. But guess what? You're manifesting all day long. It's just, the thing is, and that's the reason why, whatever you focus on the most, that's where the energy is going to go. That's where it's going to amplify. The thing is, most people are not adjusted to focusing on something that they haven't experienced yet. And that's why it seems so far away. Okay. So what role does consciousness play when stepping into one's power? Your consciousness is the filter by which you see and experience the world. And the thing is, you have a certain level of consciousness for every single subject or topic: family, relationships, money, health. Okay, the list is endless. And there are different levels of consciousness for each of those things. So going back to the example that I gave with me doing Reiki, my consciousness around me being accepted and approved kept me in the loop of defensiveness. So if you feel like so here was the thing with me. Like, I felt like I almost kind of had to get ahead of anyone who would question me. So why was my consciousness that way to begin with? And I had to trace it back. And of course, it had a lot to do with not only past life things, but how I grew up. Okay, so any of you who know me knew that I grew up in a very restrictive environment, like a religious cult, so high mind control situation, where I had to conform. I had to be approved and accepted. And even though I had left that environment, the consciousness around that aspect of being approved was still within. And so when I decided to go outside of my comfort zone, I still had that feeling like I need people to be okay with what I'm doing. And so when I decided that I didn't have to convince anyone of what I do, there wasn't going to change how I felt about what I do, it liberated that stuck energy, and my consciousness around that began to change. And I had to realize that accepting myself was the thing that I had to do first. And then that consciousness began to evolve and expand. And that's how it basically works with anything that you are currently working on, expanding your level of consciousness. We talk about either up-leveling or expanding. They're kind of really the same, but it's basically coming to understand that things are not necessarily black and white all the time. Okay, people can have different layers of truth depending on the layers of consciousness that they have. So when it comes to stepping into your power, whether that is speaking up for yourself, being authentic, taking a leap into something new, it's going to require you shifting into a new level of consciousness as you step out of that comfort zone and think of things in different ways. You're going to have to reframe how you see and experience what is currently in your reality. So that way you can align your intentions with what it is that you're trying to manifest. Okay. And if you don't, and you probably experienced this because I have, you end up in self-sabotage or frustration because things aren't turning out the way that you intended. And then you're confused about why that's the case. So if you feel trepidation, or you feel like there's a block to reclaiming your energy, first identify what it is that you're feeling in your body, and then ask your body why it's feeling this. Allow for that answer to come up, and you'll be able to trace your beliefs. So the thing is, once you have an awareness of your beliefs, then you begin to awaken through asking the questions of where do the beliefs come from? Are they really mine? And do they serve me and who I am becoming or where I am going? Okay, this is an inevitable part of the whole awakening process. Now, what I have found in my own experience working with clients is sometimes it kind of gets a little bit difficult to get to what those beliefs are, because they're so subconscious, so ingrained, that it takes a little bit of kind of work to get there. But that's also a big reason why energy work is so helpful. If you've followed some of my videos, you've seen me explain how doing energy work makes things happen faster, because when you work in energy, you're starting at the source, you're starting at the origin. So when we do energy clearings, if you decide to do any energy work, it doesn't have to be me, okay? If you decide to do any energy work, that is to shift the energy around something to make it easier for someone to end up doing the work that they need to do. And I'll tell you, working with clients, things are really, really fast when you do energy work, okay? So how do you empower others? Okay, I'm gonna just kind of make this answer really, really simple. It's really by becoming the best version of you and continuing to expand your levels of consciousness, because you show by your example what's possible for other people to do too. And then others, then when they see you, they begin to envision what's possible for them, and they kind of put themselves in that place. So I'll give you an example. If you have kids, you might have heard them say, oh, well, I want to be like you, mom, or I want to be like you, dad. I want to have like the same job or career as you, because they look up to you. Okay, it's actually quite simple. It's a very similar thing. Empowering others has nothing to do with fixing things for others, pushing them, holding their hand their entire way. So listen up, empaths, because there's a lot of empaths who do that. They're enablers and fixers. And then they end up feeling like a doormat and then kind of wondering why, they're not getting like the reciprocity. So why isn't empowering others done through that? Because others are in their own level of consciousness, and they're the only ones who can change that. You cannot change that. We as light workers tend to kind of go, okay, well, I came here to wake people up. That's true to an extent. You can really only show them information, and then they have to make their own conclusions. And when they're ready, then they can shift. Okay. So they have to be able to not only comprehend why they might need to shift into a different place, but they actually have to have the embodiment part, the experience of knowing that in the cells of their body, why shifting is actually beneficial for them. And you can talk to people until you're blue in the face. And this actually happens a lot. Okay. I hear this a lot from my clients. When people start to awaken, they kind of want to take care of everyone that they love with them, all their friends and their family. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. You can only say so much. Results that people can see speaks louder than anything. So energetically remember that we're not only mirrors of each other, okay, but we are all connected. So when one person expands their level of consciousness, it causes a ripple effect where those who resonate with that new version of you will be able to embrace that. And I actually see this a lot when I work with couples. It's actually quite a fascinating thing that happens. So keep in mind that the best thing you can do for anyone else is work on yourself, consistently working on becoming the best version of you. Now, one of my posts yesterday, I talked about the difference between true power and false power, because sometimes people think that stepping into their power means that they have to be aggressive, that they have to be loud in people's faces, push what they believe onto others. Now, I'm not saying you can't have a voice, you do, but it's really the energy behind what you're doing, what you're saying. And for those of you who are really good at reading energy, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you're able to discern the energy behind what's happening. So if you feel the need to be aggressive or defensive, you need to kind of take a look at that, because it's usually coming from a place of fear or shame, like my example that I gave earlier. And it often presents in anger, which actually comes from a victim consciousness. So when you kind of trace the thread back, you can actually trace it to something that was previously experienced, and you'll be able to see, whoa, this is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. People can have really good intentions and feel like they have really good motives, but if they're not checking in with their energy, it might be coming from a very disempowered place. So if you're truly stepping into your power, that means that you're either healing your triggers in the process or have healed them, and you're now in a different space, characterized by dignity, courage, and love. And it's not a passive thing. Sometimes people get that mixed up too, thinking that if they're not like louder or angrier than anybody else about a particular situation or cause, that they're not going to get their point across. But that's not the case at all. So if you're standing in powerful energy, it's a feeling that people get, and they know that whatever they say to you is not going, like if they're especially if they're coming at you, they actually already can feel and know it's not going to make a difference. And then next thing you know, that's not even going to be in your experience. You practice that enough, and that just bounces right off your energetic field. Okay. So any questions on this before we get into the mini clearing? And I'm going to pull some cards for a couple people. But any questions on this? No, we're good. Good. I'm glad if it's resonating. I'm glad that it does. But let's do a mini clearing. This is going to be about stepping into your power, and then I will pull cards. So if you haven't done this before, don't worry about getting this wrong. This is like a guided meditation visualization, and I'm going to be really explicit about where we're going. Okay, so don't be afraid that, oh my gosh, am I doing it right? Don't get hung up on that. Just follow along. Your higher self already knows how to do this. Okay, so what I want you to do first is go ahead and get centered in your seat. Just close your eyes. When you close your eyes, you turn your attention inward. Easy breath in, longer on the exhale, signaling your body that it's safe. Good. Relaxing your shoulders, your neck, and your jaw. And then I want you to envision from the base of your spine, you are going to send a grounding cord down into the center of the earth. That grounding cord can be as wide as a softball, or it can be as wide as your hips if you feel like you need to release a lot today. You'll see, sense, and feel when you get there. Good. And then from the bottoms of your feet, so now you're going to bring your awareness there. I want you to imagine like you're sending tree roots down into the earth. And you're spreading those out really far and wide. If you need a measurement, imagine like it's going out 200 to 300 miles, almost like it's wrapping around the sides of the earth. And then you're absorbing the earth's energy as it's coming up through the bottoms of your feet, going past your ankles, your lower legs, hips, meeting at that grounding cord at the base of your spine, and then it circles back down. Okay, so this is the second part of becoming super grounded in your body. And now I want you to go to the Rit Chakra. So sitting like right at the perineal area. Okay, so like right where like, your bladder is, okay? So imagine like you're at the center of an onion, and you know how an onion has layers? I want you to imagine that you're going out to the 25th layer, okay? So you don't have to count it out all the way. You know where that is. Just pull that into the center. And then you're going to drop that down the grounding cord. And this is the third part of being ultra grounded. So this, what we're doing right now is we're pulling in all those things that kind of cause you worry, concern, nervousness, and then that's going down into that grounding cord. The earth will transmute that energy. So don't worry about sending anything bad to the earth. Now we're going to connect. So imagine like you're way above the crown of your head. Imagine like you're reaching through to the center of the universe. Remember, with your intention, okay, this automatically is a real thing, right? We talked about what energy is. So pull that down. You're going to meet up with that stack of creative rings that we had talked about on previous videos. These look like wedding bands, kind of stacked one on top of another, and they represent your goals, dreams, desires, intentions, the things that you came here to create in this lifetime. So that energy, as it goes through your creative rings, is recalibrating each of those rings to your highest and best interest. And then now we're going to go down to your crown chakra, sitting right above the top of your head. You're going to go out to the third layer, and you're going to pull in that third layer as we clear needing permission to step into your power. So pull that into the center and drop it down the grounding cord. So it's going to go through your spine, that pranic channel, down into the center of the earth. Now, the reason why we're clearing permission here at the crown is because most of us haven't given ourselves permission to do that. Sometimes we wait for somebody else to tell us, or wait for some sort of sign or green light. You don't have to. So now that universal energy is going to come down to the center of your head, we're working on the third eye. Expand that third layer, please, as I go through a couple thoughts, beliefs, mindsets, such as, I'm afraid of being powerful. I don't think I'm as powerful as I thought that I was. I'm not in as much control as I thought that I am. If I put stronger boundaries on my energetic field, then people are going to get mad at me. Okay? Manipulation is a bad thing. I have to prove myself all the time. I need recognition and praise for the things that I do. I have to always be there for others. Okay, so pull in that third layer to the center and down. Excellent. See, sense, and feel through your body, especially as we clear just any sensations that might come up for you. Good. And then sixth layer at the third eye, I want you to go out there and I want you to pull that in. The sixth layer is really about how like other people see you. And we're going to clear people not seeing you as powerful. Okay, sometimes when we have a perception about what other people think of us, then we might identify with that. So pull in that sixth layer to the center and down. Good. Going down to the throat. So we're behind the cervical spine here. Go out to the third layer. We're going to clear difficulty verbalizing your boundaries, your energetic boundaries especially. So pull in that third layer to the center and down. Good. And then third layer again at the throat, we're going to clear anger. Some old stored anger here. This is where we tend to, when we speak with anger, we're trying to control a particular situation. Okay, so that's what it is that we're clearing here. So pull that into the center and down. Remember, we do not control anything outside of our energetic field. We can only control what's in our field. We have influence on anything on the outside. Going down to the heart, behind the shoulder blades here, third layer, we're going to clear self-judgment. Self-judgment, especially around the times that we've made mistakes in the past, or we didn't assert our power. So pull that into the center and down. Good. Excellent. And then going down to the solar plexus, what we talked about in the beginning of this live, the stomach area. So we're behind the stomach, in the mid-back. Third layer, martyr energy. This is really high in this group right now, 95%. So let's pull that in to the center and down. Good. Just breathe and release on this one. This might take a couple more seconds. Good. Third layer again at the solar plexus, self-sabotage. So this is where we may act directly against what our intentions are. And that could be for a lot of different reasons. One of the major reasons is it centering around a sense of worth. The thing is, when we stop self-sabotaging behaviors and we can keep small promises to ourselves, we can actually move into that feeling that we're trying to get, that worth. So pull in that third layer to the center and release. Remembering too, as you're releasing this, that you can set your intentions every day. Okay, so if there is something that you really feel like you need to address or do, set your intentions. Write down a few things to fulfill and carry those out. Visualize it, feel it. Now we're going to go down to the sacral chakra, the area between the hips and the navel. Okay, this is the center where we process a lot of emotions. So second layer here at the sacral, we're going to clear anger, pulling that in. So a lot of this feels like old anger, but there is a lot of anger here. Pulling that in and release. Anger for the times that you've had your power held down, told that you couldn't be powerful, right? Especially when we were younger. It's a really big deal. And then second layer again at the sacral, let's clear shame around power. So pulling that in to the center and release. For many of you, this is a past life thing. You know, you could have been shamed for wanting to stand in your power, to exert your power. If you were especially gifted in a previous life, you might have come across that as well. Okay. Going down to the root. So we're back at that perineal area, going out to the third layer. Expand this layer, please. So let's clear fear around freedom. Fear around your greatness, your gifts. Fear of success. Fear of loss. Fear of death. A lot of you were killed in past lives for standing in your power or attempting to. Fear of being someone you don't like, right? When we equate power with something negative, when really it doesn't have to be that way, we can fear being in power. And then fear being unlovable, right? Afraid that people might not love us if we stand in our power. So bring all of that in. We're going to send it down, breathing and releasing here at the root. Excellent. And now that universal and Earth's energy that came down the back of the spine, it's mixing with that Earth's energy at the root, coming up the front of the spine. Remember, the chakras come out the front and back of the body. So as it's coming up, just kind of spinning those wheels, those chakras, as we're coming up past the sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown, through your creative rings, like paint over a balloon, it comes up and over your field. Coming down around your body, immersing through all the layers of your aura as it comes down. And then it's coming down past your legs and then attaching at the grounding cord below your feet. Excellent. Let's take care of what's called the Circle of Reciprocity. Take the energies of your heart, throat, third eye, crown, rings. We're compressing that, going through your right shoulder into the right arm, the masculine side of your body. This is the giving, doing, executing side, the acting side. Okay, so really make sure this is open. As you're breathing through this, imagine like your whole arm is open. You can assert your power. Okay, you're standing in your power. You do that with masculine energy. Okay, and then it's completed, supplemented with the feminine side. So as that energy comes through, you can put your fingertips together if you want. The energy is moving through the right fingertips and palm over to the left, coming in through the left arm, opening up this left arm completely to receive. This is the feminine side. So as it's coming up through the left arm, to the left shoulder, dropping down into the chest, wrapping around the front and back of the heart, coming up front and back of the throat, up front and back of the third eye, through the crown rings, and up and over the field. Excellent. Nice work. So let's check in with the energetic cords. This is the last one for today. Just keep in mind, in private sessions, there's a lot of other energies that I clear through. But for the sake of time, let's do the energetic cords. At your root, there's 10 for the group entirely. So we're not cutting cords. Imagine like you're taking a cord out of the wall socket. We're deplugging, releasing, sending it back to who they belong to. You may or may not always realize who is corded to you. You might have an idea. Okay, but I just want you to go ahead and decord, deplug, send it back. You can do it all at the same time, one at a time. Energy has no bounds. Let me know if you need assistance with this, because we have 2 other places we're going to deplug from. So the energetic cords are people cording to you. So when I say 10 at the root, I know that sounds like a lot, but you know, that's for the collective group here on all of the platforms. Okay, if we're good, I want you to go to the solar plexus. There's 2 here. Deplug. So see, sense, and feel around that stomach area. Deplug, release, send it back. Good. And third eye, there's 1. So see, sense, and feel around where your eyes are or back of the head, because it could be corded in the back of your head too. See, sense, and feel, deplug, send it back. Good. Okay, let me know if you need help with that, okay? But I'm gonna pull cards. So I'll be looking at the comments. Let me know if you need help with the energy cords, and I can give you another tip or 2 if you have difficulty with any of those. I'll be pulling cards, not cords. I'm gonna pull cards. I have 2 people lined up. If you want cards pulled, I'll do a quick 3-card pull. I'll let you know what I'm picking up on here. I'm pulling guidance cards specifically. So if you did want that here on the live, or if you wanted to schedule that later, feel free to donate. I have the instructions on here. And we'll start with Ramone. Okay, Holly, I'll add you after the first 2, okay? All right. And then just let me know, if you've donated too. Okay, so let's do Ramone, and 3 cards guidance for Ramone, please. 3 cards guidance for Ramone. Okay. All right, Ramone, you got some releasing that's coming up here for you, which is a good thing, actually. That's going to really liberate a lot of energy for you. So 1 more card, please, for Ramone. There we go. Okay, awesome. Ooh, this is good. So Ace of Cups in reverse. I'm sorry, I'm using like the iridescent ones again today. So let me show you what he got. Ace of Cups in reverse, followed by King of Wands. is his second card. And then the Magician card came up last, which is, whew, that's awesome. So Ace of Cups in reverse, Ramone, you're gonna be purging a lot emotionally. Okay, so especially with the solar eclipse happening tomorrow, really set the intentions of releasing the energies that are not serving you. So so that could be energies like external energies, but it could also be certain, you're gonna have to dig deep on this one, Ramon. And so I'm telling you this because I trust you to do this, because I know that you know how to be really introspective. So anything, especially related to ego, really checking motives, looking at, is there anything here that is forming attachments to what it is that I'm trying to manifest that is actually dragging it down. Okay, especially in the solar plexus, and I'm just gonna kind of go through certain energies. I'm speaking generally, but when you know. Okay, so things like pride, fear, victimization, needing to be in control, like any of those things that like the ego feels it needs in order to survive. See what those could be. King of Wands. Okay, this is going to be you really stepping into this, stepping into a particular firepower. The solar plexus, the element there is fire. So you're going to have certain things ignited through the transition. And the thing is, don't be surprised if it's going to feel like one day you're purging, another day you're feeling good. One day you're purging, another day you're feeling good. Okay, that's that stop and go energy with Saturn and Pluto in retrograde. So don't feel like, oh my God, what the hell is happening? It's going to be kind of the process for a lot of us right now, which is going to feel very, it's going to feel kind of confusing, but keep going. The key right now, people, through this particular period of time, through the summer, moving into September and ending in October, the key is to keep going, despite like it feels like you might be hitting your head up against a wall because of the emotions that are coming up for you. They're coming up because you're purging. Okay. And finally, the Magician. You're going to be manifesting some really awesome shit. Okay. So just be really excited about this. Understand that this is the energetic outcome based on this read right now. You're in a good space, even if it may feel like things are kind of chaotic. And especially for those of you who are having businesses and other things like that, man, just understand that it's going to get chaotic before you have a breakthrough. So that's very, very common. Okay. It can feel like everything is about ready to like fall on its face. And then that's exactly where you needed to be in order to get to the next place, the next level. All right. So Ryan and then Holly, if there's anyone else who wants a reading, let me know. So 3-card pull for Ryan. Guidance cards, please. Oh, and Ryan, I wanted to text you anyway, so I'll message you later. So, okay. So we've got, ooh, Knight of Cups, upright. And Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. So, this is good. Okay, so it just kind of hit me. Okay, so check this out. The Knight of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, and I'm going to be kind of reading these two together. Okay, this is what she got first. Knight of Cups upright, Knight of Pentacles in reverse, followed by Ace of Wands in reverse. Okay, so with the Knight of Cups and Knight of Pentacles here, because you know how we were just talking about like worth, the solar plexus, the feeling of stepping into your power. This is you really coming towards yourself, okay? Because they're both knights. Knights are about action and forward momentum. You're really going to be coming towards yourself with filling yourself up emotionally in ways that's actually going to, it's going to make you feel like, wow, yes, I am worthy because I am good enough because I am, you know, I am in a better place now, because you're going to be recognizing those things, and you're going to be actually validating yourself in ways that you haven't before. This is really, really exciting. So I hope that this is resonating with you, or giving you a little bit of hope, because I know a lot of people right now are really emotional. Totally get it. I'm not exempt either, people. So understand that this is really awesome. The Ace of Wands in reverse, you have, so until you start recognizing this, the Ace of Wands is really about more of like an opportunity to now act upon the new feeling that, this new feeling, stepping into your power, this new version of yourself, you're going to be able to act upon it. The reason that it's reverse is just, it's going to feel like, what do my clients say to me all the time? I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I'm better, but I'm not there yet, right? You only can delay this as long as you want to. You really don't have to, but this is kind of where you're in control of this. You're in control of the opportunity that the universe is going to be giving to you, and taking a hold of that and grabbing that and then taking care of it. Okay. So that's really, really good, Brian. I was happy to see that. Okay. Holly is next. So guide, and then D. Okay. If anyone else want cards pulled, let me know. Do you have a good, we're actually making really good time today. I know sometimes I get long-winded. Okay. So Holly, guidance cards for Holly. Cards for Holly. Okay, Page of Cups in reverse. Holly. Okay, let's come up with some more jumpers for you. There we go. Chariot. And okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to have to read it because the fourth card flew out right after the third. Okay, so Holly, Page of Cups in reverse, followed by the Chariot. Aren't these cool cards? I know they're kind of shiny and hard to see. So Knight of Swords. Okay, and then Two of Pentacles. It's going to be a decision coming up here. I wonder if you already know what that is. Okay, so Page of Cups in reverse. I feel like there's a little bit of like hesitation, either addressing feelings or like addressing something with somebody else. You can let me know if that is, okay, all right. Okay, so Dark goes after D. Okay, so it kind of feels almost like, I don't know, is there a little trepidation, nervousness to either address certain feelings that are coming up now, or for or something with somebody else? It almost kind of feels like there might be another party included here. It could be even someone from the past, Holly, where they probably made you feel a particular way, and now those things are surfacing. Now you're kind of seeing the connection. If you do, take it and heal that. Okay, and do any forgiveness exercise if you need to. If you need help with that, let me know. Or journal things out, kind of see where like your stream of consciousness leads to a breakthrough or epiphany. Big point on that, people. Journaling is fantastic, because now you're transferring energy from in here and here onto paper, and you can see it. The Chariot card, it feels like this is going to like come at you. Oh, okay. Moving out of state, not sure about a person. Make sure that you voice everything that you need to. If you have to write it down to kind of organize your thoughts, big move, lots of emotions. Okay, totally get it. So kind of organize your thoughts. If you feel like, if you're not sure about something, someone, I don't know if you were there, that my last live, I talked about the dimmer switch. Do the dimmer switch exercise where you can kind of be in that space behind your eyes, where you can ask the question and see what you get. You know, journaling is one like physical thing you can do. You can also do that energetic exercise, but this is going to feel like it's going to come fast. Okay. The Chariot, it's going to come fast. It's going to come, you're basically, this is an inevitability. Okay. And you're going to have to, it's going to come at you, and it's better to address it when it comes at you instead of sitting and waiting and then like having regrets later. The Knight of Swords, okay, followed by the Two of Pentacles, right? This is all about being able to execute with the, not just with your intelligence, but like you need to be able to discern what you're picking up intuitively and act upon it. This is actually facing, I'm going to put it like this. It's actually facing the Chariot, if you notice that. Okay, so use your intuition too when you're kind of organizing your thoughts and feelings around this, if you do have to have a discussion. Okay, do not bypass the intuition. This is a really big time, especially with the solar eclipse. There's going to be a lot of intuitive downloads, everyone. Okay, you can't, you're going to almost kind of wonder where this information is coming from. Don't question it, just write it down. Okay, the Two of Pentacles, like I said, decision, right? So that makes sense with what you're talking about. You're going to have to, this is so interesting in this depiction. It's almost like balancing out pros and cons. Pros and cons lists are not bad. I hate to use judgment words, but the thing is, what can trump pro and con type lists is what your body is telling you. Pay attention to what your body is telling you, because it's not going to, if you're looking at your intuition, and intuition is not going to make you fear, it's just going to give you the information that you need. Okay, so since you had that card fly out, I couldn't not address it, but just understand it's not all up in your head. You got to pay attention to your body too. All right, so I hope that resonates. And then, okay, so now we're on to D and then Darko. If there's anybody else who wants a 3-card pull, donate please. The info is on my posts. Oops. Okay. So D. Okay. What's going on, D? Is there a particular like situation you're dealing with, contending with, like conflict? Okay. And it almost kind of feels like internal conflict too, on top of it. So, okay, well, good. Thank you for that feedback, Holly. Okay, awesome. Yes, pay attention to your intuition. You're a very intuitive person. I believe we talked before, like you're a total empath. So please go with it. And thank you for the feedback. Okay, so 5 of Wands, D. This is the reason why I'm asking about conflict, okay? Followed by 8 of Swords, and then Page of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so here's where I love the fact that like the reads tend to kind of go along with the topic. So so with the 5 of Wands, if there is some sort of conflict, and it also, like I said, it feels like internally conflicted about something, but there is also something like in your reality that you're experiencing, observing, where, I don't know, it seems like people are either coming at each other, being defensive, like you're kind of seeing like the solar plexus wounds in your reality right now, okay? And then, so with that, that makes you, it almost kind of, I feel like it makes you feel like you need to do something about it. Like, and maybe you do, but like it almost kind of feels like I need to be the peacemaker here, or I feel like I need to like make this better somehow. The 8 of Swords, though, very classic card in terms of like how we block ourselves with the different scenarios, whether we're creating something up in our head, we're like the worst case scenarios, especially, or we keep ourselves trapped in our own fears, because in order to kind of fix this, we need to step out of our comfort zone. And if you take a look at the 8 of Swords, this is a very classic depiction in most of the tarot decks. I should know I have like 40 of them. So they, you know, they all kind of depict like you're in the center of this thing, but like you can get out, you can walk out of it if you wanted to. Okay. So the thing is, it's about seeing, okay, what do I really fear here? What am I really, what makes me apprehensive or feel like in trepidation of doing anything when really there's nothing holding me back but myself? So with the Page of Pentacles in reverse, this is really about presenting to yourself, like you're going, if you pay attention to this, you're going to be able to see how you almost like subvert yourself. Like you kind of go, well, I can't do that because, you know, what would so and so say? Or, you know, what if I'm wrong? Or what if my intuition was off? Or whatever the case may be. Like this is a whole thing here about understanding that you are more powerful than you think that you are, which is the reason why we cleared that in the third eye chakra. And you can step into that by looking at what truly is holding me back. Ask that question, journal that out. What is truly holding me back from taking care of this internal conflict or taking care of some situation that I need to be addressing in front of me? Because whether, and I don't know, is this an age thing too? Like, is there like something where like, oh, maybe I'm too young, or older people are not going to listen to me, or why am I picking up on that? There's also something here with like maybe what you have been told, like that inner voice of yours. Remember that our inner voice tends to be the things that we were told when we were younger by our parents or caregivers, because they didn't know, even though they may have good intentions, the things that they told us becomes our inner voice when we're older. So look at that and go, remember the questions I asked? Is that even really mine? Does it serve me? So make sure that you are not holding yourself back. This Page of Pentacles, when it becomes upright, you're going to be serving yourself in a way that you never have before. But you have to be able to take a look at, where have I felt that that I'm not good enough to do something about this? Okay, because you look for the evidence of the opposite. And I really feel like there's a lot about you that is actually really, really great, really gifted. Really, there's so much more about you that I think you can give yourself a little bit more credit than what you have been giving. And understand that wisdom can come from people who are younger, may seemingly be less experienced. Let me tell you, the people who've been incarnating now and who are incarnating now and who recently incarnated the past, 10, 20 years, are coming in with wisdom that the older generations do not have. It's a very interesting phenomenon. And they end up becoming healers and things that are just like mind-blowing. And you kind of wonder, where in the world are they coming from? It's here. I feel like you're one of them, D. So just understand that that this is actually a really good thing. This is an opportunity for you to show yourself a different version of you. What a privilege, what a gift. Okay. All right. Darko. And then if there's anybody else who wants a reading, otherwise we'll wrap it up. Okay. So Darko, guidance cards for Darko. How are you doing, Darko? Dun, 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 dun. Judgment card. Okay, this is the first card that came out. So the first question I almost want to ask you, Darko, is I feel like not only are you kind of looking at yourself differently, treating yourself better, like I feel like you're also doing a lot to take care of yourself. But where are you also, oh, interesting. Where do you feel like how do I put this? Where you are particularly like, you feel like you're done in a particular arena. Judgment card came up first for you, Darko, and then followed by Queen of Swords. Page of Wands. Okay, so a couple different energies that I'm picking up from this. So the Judgment card can be a card of self-judgment, which is the reason why I was asking if you feel like you've kind of judged yourself in a particular place, and I can't get any better than that. Like this is you're welcome, D. So where this is like, I can't fix a particular thing. That's just how it is. I want you to tell you that, you know, when we kind of do that to ourselves, like, so here's an example. Like people who have like a physical limitation, they can kind of go, oh, well, I will never be, you know, I will never be able to, like, you know, jump that high, run that fast, whatever the case may be. Does it mean you can't do that at all? There's a lot of people who have proved that they can do things that seemingly were impossible. There's a lot of people I've seen heal from things that you know, doctors could not say anything. They're just dumbfounded. So I want you to understand that you don't have to pigeonhole yourself. If there is a particular something about yourself that you feel like you can't get any better than what it is right now, so I'm just going to address other things. I want you to make sure that, you know, in your journey right now, because Page of Wands is telling me you are definitely in the spiritual journey right now. You're kind of like, whether you realize it in that way or not, but you are. So I want you to understand, and I'm going to get to that card here in a second, but I want you to understand that there's nothing impossible. Okay, there's nothing impossible about what it is, like your vision for the future. So don't kneecap yourself in any way. Start where you need to start, but understand that every time you begin to heal different aspects of your life, you're going to be able to step into a place that you realize, wow, I can take care of that. Okay, so I don't want you to dismiss anything about your journey or about yourself. Okay, because the thing is, different things that you heal in different parts of your life are attached to all the other aspects. Okay, so I want you to understand that. The Queen of Swords energy here, which is, it's interesting the way that this is, it's facing that Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands is looking off to the other side. So that Queen of Swords energy, you are going to be coming into new insights and epiphanies. They've already been coming to you, but I feel like you're going to have more, especially in the very, very near future. This summer is going to be really big for a lot of people with that. And so this card does not surprise me. The thing is here too, though, the other side to this card is that I want you to pay attention to where you beat down on yourself, where you might even have a cold energy towards yourself. I want you to pay attention to that, because that's going to be a big part of this spiritual journey, where you begin to realize where those things are coming from and how false they actually are. The Queen of Swords energy can sometimes be cold and abrasive. So this is the reason why I'm saying this to you, because you don't have to believe everything that you think. Sometimes we get caught up in that, where like our thoughts become like who we identify, like what we identify with or who we identify with. And that's not necessarily the case. The Queen of Swords is also a feminine energy. Okay. So I want you to understand that your feelings that come up, I want you to associate what are the thoughts that are bringing these feelings about, especially if the feelings are more on that quote unquote negative, like they don't feel so good, they feel heavy, or they feel like confusing. Okay, I want you to pay attention to the thoughts that precede that. You can break that down. You can create the connections that are going to be able to propel you on this spiritual journey right now that's going to be able to see how you have been disconnecting yourself from source energy. Okay, so when I say that, I don't say that like, you know, like in a woo-woo way. You use whatever you want, universe, God, whatever the case may be, right? But the thing is, the reason why we get so caught up in our heads and we beat ourselves up is because we've disconnected ourselves from the very source of where we came from. This is the whole reason behind this whole topic of you stepping into your power, understanding you're more powerful than you really are, that we have more abilities and capabilities than anyone has ever told us to believe because of all the different constructs that we grew up with and the experiences that we had in this lifetime that may have been like atrocious, you know, catastrophic. There's a lot of clients I deal with that I can't even imagine going through the things that they went through, but they have overcome insurmountable odds. So I want you to understand that the spiritual journey is teaching you, Darko, about who you really are. And it's greater than what you have ever thought. So I want you to understand that. And this is going to be a really eye-opening period of time for you coming up in the next couple of months. As you have these epiphanies, breakthroughs, understanding, wow, I can change those thoughts, right? I know you pay attention to Joe Dispenza, and he talks about how like all a belief is are thoughts that you repeat just over and over and over again until you believe that they're true, which basically means you can change any beliefs that you currently have into things that are better for you. Just by being able to understand that thought isn't true, I'm going to replace it with this, and this is what I'm going to practice from here on out. Okay, so I hope that resonates with you. If there's any other questions, anything else that anybody needs at this time, speak now or forever hold your peace. Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up. But you guys have been great. Thank you for all the participation. And I hope a lot of this resonates with you, that you learned something. If there's any topics you want to hear about in the future too, then let me know so I can put that on my schedule. I usually try to plan for these a couple weeks in advance, but otherwise, you are very welcome, Darko. I'm glad that that resonated. But yes, so I plan to go live every single Wednesday unless there's a change in my schedule, but keep up on social media so you can keep up on the topics. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I appreciated your energy today, and I will talk to you soon. Okay? Bye.